Extreme righteous in our nation have often used time much more effectively than the forces of goodwill. It may well be that we will have to repent in this generation, not merely for the vitriolic words of the bad people and the violent actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence and indifference of the good people who sit around and say, wait on time. Somewhere we must come to see that social progress never rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts and the persistent work of dedicated individuals, and without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the primitive forces of social stagnation. So we must help time. We must realize that the time is always right to do right.
I would either be working at my job or going to classes I was even passionate about in the slightest that would have left me with a piece of paper after a few years that wouldn't have guaranteed me anything. All because I was in pursuit of a degree for the wrong reasons. Constantly, I would ask myself, I don't even enjoy what I'm doing at school. I hate the job that I work at. Why am I doing this? The answer to that would be somewhere along the lines of, oh, well, I have to. It's the only thing that makes sense. Completely unaware of any other alternatives. To my core, I knew this was not the best use of my time. No drive to pursue anything greater than that routine. By society standards, I was doing exactly what I was supposed to do by compromising what I actually wanted. As a kid, like when I was 9 years old, I would actually cry because of how scared I was to end up like this. Because I knew where these series of actions were taking me, and it wasn't where I wanted to go. I knew this wasn't sustainable. Hey guys, Jamil here. Welcome to Mindset Redo, where I share with you some insights and ideas you can use directly in your own life to solve certain problems while on your path to finding your passion. Most of which I went through while starting my journey by giving you perspectives either backed by science or experience that teaches you how to connect these ideas with your existing insights that you already have. So you can start building up a more powerful mindset that develops you into a more independent thinker. I'll be sharing with you my story and why I left my hometown to be on my own in British Columbia, and how I went from damn near homeless to accumulating nearly $30,000 in investments. I'm not going to tell you the step by step. Instead, I'm going to tell you how I was thinking to get to that point so you can replicate it into anything you become passionate about. Full disclosure, I've always wanted to create awesome shit. What I was not realizing is that awesome things don't just happen just because you want them to happen. What you wish for never just suddenly translates into the life you want. I couldn't grasp this concept for so long. For most of my friends, the point of life is to live in the moment and to enjoy being with people that make you feel fulfilled and to have a good time. My fulfillment comes with progression, pushing through comfort zones for a later and greater satisfaction. I've never liked the idea of being cozy. I hate being still. Anybody can be happy and cozy. Alex Hanna, the guy that free sold the Yosemite, said nobody achieves anything great because they're happy and cozy. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with being happy and cozy. I just wasn't fulfilled with being happy and cozy. I always get asked how I'm able to be on my own, or how was I able to just drop partying and spend so much time pursuing my craft. Truth is, you don't need any mood altering things when you're in hot pursuit of doing what you love. The sensation of satisfaction I get in my gut when I dive deep into creation is the ultimate payoff for my effort. I can understand the confusion since this is not in line of what a 20-something-year-old would want. It's just I don't see these as my prime years. I feel as if these become your prime years only if you spend too much time being happy and cozy. I wasn't gonna be cozy forever. At some point I had to make the decision when that would be anyways. And the longer I waited, the more likely the decision would have been made by whatever actions I was doing in that moment. Whether you're trying to be an astronaut, a lawyer, starting your own business, a teacher, building your family, each of those paths aren't a cozy walk down. I think it comes down to being a warrior, achieving excellence by your own standards regardless of ridicule, doubt, confusion, and setbacks. For me, that is the ultimate form of self-care, facing your fear because your goal demands it. That is a goddamn warrior spirit. I want to look back and say I killed it, to inspire others to kill it too. I can't do that when I'm cozy. I do see myself as a hybrid of the two. I don't believe grinding 24/7 is even necessary, honestly. I just spent too much time being cozy. Until one day my friend asked me if I wanted to drive across the country and go door to door to sell pest control. And without hesitation, I agreed. It was one of the biggest leaps we've ever taken. And it was one of the fastest decisions I've ever made. And when I say one day, I literally mean one day he came inside my house, came inside my room and was like, dude, you wanna go to Vancouver? And I was like, yeah. We left 2 weeks within the initial ask. And until now, I didn't know why it was so easy to make that decision. Although upon reflection, I have a theory. I wanted to break free from that cycle I was in. And at the time, although I didn't have the awareness to even know where to start, looking back, I guess I realized that that version of me wasn't gonna get me on my most fulfilling path. So I had to take that version of myself away from home and on an adventure into the unknown. And in that moment, a new version of myself was born. A version necessary to do the things I've always wanted to do. I knew I had to leave where I was most comfortable. Trying to break through that cycle by being around the same things, the same people was like swimming upstream. I needed to make the jump to the next version of myself.
Call me when you're ready to be real. Like Madonna, hallelujah. Makes no difference here, so let's be real. Like Madonna, my black flower. Nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide. You're not having fun, I think that you should ride. Call me when you're ready to be real. Like Madonna, my
Going through leaving my hometown on a limb and traveling across the country with my best friend was a good place to start. Starting this process of change was the easiest decision I ever made because the alternative was to stay stagnant, to continue on a path I didn't even want to be on. And instead of complaining about where I am, I took the first opportunity to test my boundaries. This process was tough mentally. I'm still putting my best foot forward to break through paradigms that kept me in that routine. The biggest one was to drop the idea that I'm stuck where I am just because things haven't happened yet. I've always thought that if I waited long enough, they would happen. I was stuck where I was because I wasn't going to where I wanted to be. Literally a prisoner in my own mind. Can you believe that? I wasn't taking the proper steps to be doing the type of work I wanted to do, or to be living the life I wanted to live. I was feeling more lost one day, a few months after I finished doing door-to-door in BC. My friend went back home and I stayed in British Columbia. Because since I was on my own for the first time with only a few of the friends that I met there, I was finally able to give myself the necessary space to become my own person with no distraction. Of course, I didn't find out what I wanted right away. For months, I was still bouncing around, doing odd jobs here and there, looking for random ventures on the internet. I called my dad and the homie just let me vent to him about my life. He responded with, work backward. Look at how you want your life to be and figure out how to get there. This was the best advice I got, and at the time, mentally, I had trouble grasping, all because I was so fixated on having a certain type of health, or having a lot of money, or having a job that grants me status. After so long, I came to the conclusion that life comes down to how you look at it. You can have all the riches in the world and still be unfulfilled. What success means to you might not mean the same thing to another person. Success to me was about being satisfied. So what was gonna make me satisfied? I changed how I was thinking about things and changed how I was looking at life. I adopted a new perspective, one that wasn't as materialistic and one that didn't crave status or money. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to meet one of my good friends to this day who had this perspective. The first thing I noticed about him was that he was a hybrid between a dreamer and a doer. A deadly combination. This guy went from being fat to skinny to jacked, which I found to be very inspirational and also hilarious at the same time. He was literally just like, yeah, I don't like this. We had a conversation about not falling into the trap of the rat race. And he told me how he started using the dropshipping model to start leveraging away from the rat race. After a lengthy conversation, something just clicked in my mind. I suddenly had a big picture in my head of my future. I was no longer a victim of chaos, and I was now the master of my own fate by realizing the roadblocks that I needed to cross were actually just in my mind. Instantly, I was obsessed with overcoming these roadblocks. At the time, I had a near miss of homelessness and I was living in the hostel. But this newfound clarity on what I needed to conquer gave me the wicked reassurance that I wasn't gonna be in that spot for very long. I found just what I needed to just stay the course. I really didn't have that much time after work to squeeze in this newfound pursuit. Or so I thought. So instead of watching Netflix after work, I put my attention on investing in myself to gain knowledge instead. My first roadblock completed. I cut down on time-consuming activities like that, and suddenly I was finally on my way to conquering my second mental roadblock I wanted to break through. This roadblock was in finding a new outlet. Now this one was a bit more tricky because of how limited my exposure was than any other perspective than the one I already had. which was looking successful, and that has never worked. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Charles Hoskin, Elon Musk, all cared about building cool shit. You don't need to be a billionaire to want to have that sort of vision for yourself and humanity. On some level, us humans have this natural inclination to serve one another, whether that's through building businesses that gives you products and services that make your life easier, or as a musician that brings you songs that relate to your pain, or hype you up to the point where you just want to start a riot with Bobby Shmurda. So I got on YouTube, sort of what you're doing right now, and started to expand my exposure to many different perspectives. Listen to hundreds of stories of people pursuing their craft, hundreds of interviews of people who enjoyed what they were doing. Tame Impala, Kobe and LeBron, Rodney Mullen, Pavel Datsyuk.
It's over there. Bronson for Detroit. A nice drag ahead by Datsyuk. Controls to the outside. Shoveling. He scores!
Performances like Natalie Portman's and Hugo Weaving's in V for Vendetta. Alex Hernandez. I intentionally dived so deep into what passion looks like, and it started to look like putting in effort knowing there's a chance you won't succeed. You're so in love with the process that either outcome becomes worth it. The only risk was regret. You see these people creating amazing things, but it's easy to forget when they were first starting out, they were scared shitless. They're human, just like you and me. They experience fear just like the rest of us. The first song, the first performance, all moments where they were faced with fear. Through them, I found the belief that we are all artists in our own respect. Whether that's to become the best damn teacher to ever teach, or to be the fastest person on the planet. The problem is through conforming to what's expected of us. When we sacrifice the potential creation of something amazing that could be birthed from our creativity and shy away from the ridicule that's necessary for growth, our dreams become the sacrifice. Success is easy to measure off of vanity metrics, like how much money someone has, what sort of job they have, or like how big their house. That's a shallow approach I fell victim of. You end up playing a sucker's game, buying things you can't even afford, talking to people you don't even want to talk to, and doing things that aren't worth it to you long term. You don't even end up living your own life. Your life becomes a copy of what the status quo wishes for it to be. This infatuated idea of success robs us of our lives. For me, it's so much more about creating a life around becoming the person that I'm proud to be while enjoying what I do, as long as I'm able to meet my basic needs. Money comes as a result. Most people won't view that as success because I didn't film that in front of a Lambo. Instead, I filmed in front of a tapestry. This is relevant because I use this philosophy when I make bold investments in the cryptocurrency space and have made quite the hefty return of $30K off of the initial $2,000 I averaged in over time. And it's all because I'm looking at the people behind the project, not how much a company is worth in dollars. The best products have people working for a cause. You can tell they love it so much that they could be working for free. My favorite crypto right now is Cardano. The CEO lives and breathes his work. His vision is so strong. Watch some of his videos on YouTube and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll catch me cheering the team on like I know them, because when you see someone doing something they love, you can't stop. For 3 years, Cardano wasn't even a finished project. It was an idea fueled by passion to create a better future and to give economic identity to those less fortunate. People will call it a ghost chain, a pyramid scheme, a wicked method act led by a guy posing as a CEO. The idea of Cardano was sound, backed by 92 different peer-reviewed papers from professors who specialize in blockchain technology and mathematics from universities all around the world, which is unheard of in the cryptocurrency space. There is a couple other projects who have done peer reviews maybe, just nowhere near the level of sophistication, and still no one would give them the time of day. Now Cardano is setting up financial infrastructure in Georgia, have hundreds of deals lined up with the continent of Africa, and a fully decentralized system, and they're still nowhere near finished what they want to achieve. As a result of this foundational focus that Cardano adopted, and those like myself noticed, their coin fired up 10 times since I bought it in late 2020. Now that the price is up, everyone wants a piece of the pie. But having the price be the benchmark for success is a foolish place to start. That's how people lose so much money in this. It starts with faith in an idea and belief in a man and a team crazy enough to want to change the world. That's what drove an intangible thought to be a multi-billion-dollar asset. Clearly that's not financial advice either. I'm just some guy on the internet. I'm not even a finance channel. Also, depending the time that you're watching this, it's currently a bull run and everyone seems like a genius during a bull run, which means at this stage, you could literally throw a dart at a board with a list of cryptos and at least double your money or lose it all. Also, the volatility is not for the weak. There are times that my entire portfolio would rise or drop by 10K, but that's just another Tuesday here in crypto. The thing is, the products that will stick around are the ones with the solid fundamentals. I was also fortunate enough to be a part of this amazing Telegram community that has been in this wild west of finance longer than I have. Off topic, I know. My point is that ideas, good ideas, are a force of nature morphed by pushing past the norm. You can have the most sound idea and still face ridicule, doubt, and fear. It's just how things are. Humans have a tendency to stick to what's already familiar. It doesn't matter if the change is good or bad. Sadly, there are ideas. Ideas that could potentially change the world die because of that. I hope for myself and for you, I could give us the best gift that anyone could ever receive. The creativity to find that idea, the faith to believe that you can do it, and the courage to pursue it. If you made it this far in the video, then you're probably as crazy as me, which is ideal. I already like you. Leave a comment and let's be friends. To understand and use the ideas that I present on this channel, eventually you're gonna have to break through your comfort zone. And you're probably the type of person that's okay with the growing pains that come with evolving your perspective. That's cool beans because most don't. That's why so few people change the world. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning myself. Most of what I make is something to discuss within yourself and to decide independently what you can take away from it. This is for the person who gets bored of things easily. I promise you don't suck at everything. A part of you just knows that that's not what you're meant to be doing. I wanted to show you that you don't have to fall prey of the sunk cost fallacy. The time you spend doing something you hate takes away from the time that you could be spending doing something you actually like. That's a variation on something my friend told me a few months back. Move, change, grow. Once you know what you like doing, you'll know. Don't be bound to the version of you that's expected by others. That's why I hate the rat race. It's a cookie cutter solution. Imagine how many talented people quit their dreams simply because they thought they couldn't. That's a scary fucking thought. Spending 2 years bouncing around is leading me to see what I love to do. And that's to analyze systems of thought. Who knows, maybe in a couple months or years that could evolve into something different. I just know when I'm 80, I would be kicking myself for not at least trying. Giving myself the freedom to fail and to experiment. Intentionally developing an independent way of thinking led me to meet and find people all over the place, from my jobs to YouTube to people who are already inside my life, such as family and friends, and to take their insights and perspectives into account without believing it to be the only truth. I still have so much to learn and so much to challenge myself with, and so many paths to explore, of course. The path I ended up taking isn't easy. I don't care if it isn't, it's just worth it to me. I wouldn't have got to where I was heading if it wasn't for my ability to challenge what I thought was to be true. Learning is more than stockpiling facts like a greedy little squirrel. It's so much more about knowing how to think. And with this channel, I plan on sharing with you some ideas and insights that could help you break through and add on to your barriers of belief. I want to share with you everything I've learned up until now and onwards. For 2 reasons: to look back on my ideologies and to fast track your progress. Anyways, that's me in a nutshell, and that's why this YouTube channel exists. I also made a free video series you can check out by joining my email list through the link in the description below if you're not tired of hearing me yap yet. I am insanely grateful for you, especially if you made it to this point in the video. So with that being said, thanks for sticking around. Make sure to check out the free video series in the description below and to leave a like on this video so YouTube knows to share my story with more people. And I hope to see you in future videos.
The beating of a million drums.